Eating Metropolis, Emerald City, Xanadu, Babylon, to the ISS, and the rest of you. Hey, those are one of the original shirts. Yeah, so good evening. Here, let's just sit down and do this. So 29, now 30 days into the war. It's not World War III, though. So there's good news. Wow, there's good news. Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, as the case may be. You are watching the most popular, or the number one podcast nobody's ever heard of, and fewer people even watch. It is 1 a.m. Eastern in New York. It is 9 a.m. in Moscow. It is 3 p.m. in Tokyo, and it is 10 p.m. at I'll just say Hollywood. I was going to out the location, but not. So shouts out around the world to friends across this great divide known as the internet. The internet was designed to bring us all together. Doesn't seem to be working that way, does it? Seems to be conquering and dividing almost geometrically. So I have the headlines for since we last saw each other every night, 1 a.m. Eastern. So the headlines from 324, now 325. If I can arrange this tomorrow, I think I'm going to do a skim of the entire book to date. How many notes have passed versus how now where we are? Because wait a minute, that'll 25, 26. That's a significant period of headlines where they said this on this day on this network and boom, boom, boom. And you could almost play at home like your own risk board. They started those comments. Remember when they started this is like this. The Ukraine is then when that first meme, Ukraine is weak. And it was the subway scene in Seinfeld with Kramer and Newman playing Risk. That's where this started in just the world of memes. But now that Air Force One has exited Brussels and has landed in Poland, it really makes me question a few of these headlines. And when I bring up Air Force One being in European airspace, it kind of bothers me because the hype of the fact that one of the Doomsday planes went with. We took the Doomsday plane over there just to cover the Dork Brigade because that's what this has become. I was very leery and skeptical of the whole emergency summit as it played out in 7 consecutive news cycles. It's not an emergency when you're planning it and hyping it and going to a meeting. And I said, I sure hope that this is not a staged photo opportunity. And what did it become? It became a photo opportunity and now a snafu of nightmarish possible scenarios that the Western and European, the Eastern philosophy pundits can play off both sides because there was no definitive standing up to a bully. So does that really make Putin a bully? Is this all staged and theatrical? There are many questions about staging. The photograph that is used to start this video was taken from the White House on the 24th. 24th, the day before was the 23rd. Same year as President Biden in the White House tweeted the photo of President Biden stepping up on the Marine One to go to the Air Force Base to get on Air Force One and leave. Now, why would they stage that photo? That was just in the last 36 to 48 hours, depending upon where in the world you are. So I thought maybe if I can schedule perhaps, and I would have to go back, and I guess I would want to highlight the ones, I guess, yellow, green, and orange. I guess the variants of these things remain constant. These changed versus these went 180 degrees. Mariupol certainly seems to be one of the, and which was the big second, well, about the 5th red flag of these headlines aren't making sense since you put Mariupol, CBS, ABC, NBC, Reuters, America's favorite 4-color fish wrap, the USA Today, you name it, you guys floated the story. 200,000 evacuated Mariupol. And that story appeared for 24 hours straight, meaning it had just happened. And it had to have, because the Mariupol activity hadn't popped. Huh. I pointed out that the satellites would have seen all the humans just walking. Nobody seems to want to challenge that one yet. So let's go through these headlines together. What has been a long day, and it's going to be an interesting weekend. This is not a take out the trash news weekend. They are dumping a lot of headlines. By the way, Poland alone, in what jump forward to what was the most recent comments from the White House. Um, when it comes to his Poland, he's going to be speaking in Warsaw. Poland. Well, I tell you what, I'm not going to jump lines. We're just going to go straight through on this. Um, 2 million Ukrainian refugees alone in Poland. 2 million alone in Poland. So the 500,000 to 2 million refugees. No, Scooter Damas pointing out 2 million is five, and if 2 million is five, that's 10. 2 million refugees alone in Poland. So now that when the Western media says 10 million displaced Ukrainians, displaced is an interesting word for refugee, isn't it? We're at 10 million at 30 days. Hashtag Scooter Damas. Unbelievable. And I said that this was all coming from the Soviet playbook. The West is still demonizing Putin and calling him a madman. The madmen should be the generals, the Russian generals. And there are some interesting stories floating around about them, aren't there? Whether they were killed in battle in Ukraine, whether they've mysteriously dropped off the radar with a heart attack, and or if they are providing now Russian propaganda that is explaining the strategy and the victories that the Russian army have had. What was originally considered estimates are now reality. That even the Western media, in particular NBC News, simply does not want to address. Did I say NBC? Yes, NBC News simply does not want to address 9,800 plus dead. Well, that number is 10,000 dead, and it's not dead and 6,000 or 5,000. No, it's 15,000 plus wounded and counting, which brought back hashtag Scooter Damas. When the Russians admitted to 498 dead, I pointed out, hey, wait a minute, Kremlin speak. One is none, two is one, but it's all the factor of 10. If it was 50, they wouldn't say a word. There's no need to, because you can hide 50 dead bodies in the Soviet Union, piece of cake. 500, holy, that number is probably 10 times higher, but they have why? So each little village where they sent Andreev, or yeah, we're not getting into, well, how come they're not, I can't wait for the Me Too and the women's movement to all yell, scream, and shout. How come we don't see more dead Russian women in the Russian army? Um, you can't hide again. You think Denver, where I'm from, Denver, you think Denver's small, SM all? The world is small, SM all. And these electronic devices have made it all but impossible. Hence why they want to lock out the truth. Have you on a social credit score? Have your money when we let you have it. You can post what we say is okay. You can believe what we want you to believe. Anything else is a conspiracy theory. And this latest joke, there's three of two. I'll give one. This argument of, well, I said something in which you made three different comments. There's no way you're watching this show. I'm going to bust you straight up stone cold. I'm done. One. Oh, three is two is one. Where was I going? I went down a rabbit hole and then I got mad because I was going to slap them back in their face. A lot of you people do need to be slapped. Sorry, due to COVID, 2+ years, you could work on that condescending attitude and tone you have by now. 2 years. I know it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. All right. The Dork Brigade. We got to send the doomsday plane. Other interesting headlines: volcanic activity out of Manila. Shh. 2 million is 10 million. The troops. NBC News as of Thursday night, Friday morning. Today's Friday night where I am. NBC News, Molly Hunter cannot pull what's ever out of her just to figure it out. 7 to 15,000 dead or wounded. 9,800 by last count as of 322, 323. Soviets, the phones. There is no way you can hide that anymore. There just isn't. Gotta lock it down. So, NBC News, I thank you for your erring on the side of caution because you don't want to report too many dead. That'd be the first time in media history. North Korea's a successful ICBM missile test now lets everyone in America worry because that missile could hit anywhere. I know. Although in DC, the cherry blossoms are blooming, photograph. Yeah, wait a minute. The trees just have the buds in her. Where did all the. Well, we accidentally posted that picture and told Joe he was getting on a plane. Jill Biden's in Denver doing whatever Jill does when she's not allowed to be around the husband. Um, we're sending the Doomsday plane to cover the Dork Squad. Dork Brigade, excuse me. Um, bird flu. Oh, bird flu. Boy, if you thought President Biden, I'm sorry, NBC News also in the overnight in the Today Show, they call him Mr. Biden. Still trying to figure that one out. Mr. Biden said, I said I wasn't going to jump pages and I'm doing it. Damn it. Um, regarding preparing for the food crisis. But again, the cherry blossoms. So there's about to be another COVID. Yeah, the people that got my mask on, but I took it down to do the interview and me. Well, I came out to see the cherry blossoms because, there I heard there might be a surge. Gee, I wonder what media you're watching. The international humanitarian crisis, 10 million displaced Ukrainians, aka refugees. The war in Ukraine entering a second month. The United States says we're going to accept 100,000 of them. Well, how many Ukrainians and Russians are sitting at the Mexican border? Because you've let that story simmer now for over 3 weeks. My notes have it. We sat here and talked about it. I recognize my voice. It's irritating in English, and I don't stutter. Oh, I'm sorry. I had a bad day. I caught Chin 3. I said I'd do one. I might. The day one Highland Energy Summit. Yeah, we got through that. 30 days now. We got that. Okay. Now that Bush President, again, the NBC News says Joe Biden. Now that Joe Biden, I have it written down. Now that Joe Biden has called, this is breaking news. They were doing this because they had their Bluetooth. Breaking news. Am I allowed to say getting retarded? No, apparently not. If you bleep yourself, it means no. President Biden calling for the G20 to expel Russia was an unprecedented move. Excuse me. Boy, I sure hope she shares her story soon in a book deal. Now that so much of it, again, I'm bringing back now, we're going to jump all over the place. Hold on. Like we haven't been the whole time. Go bitch, moan, and complain at scootermcgee.com. Let me know if even the website works. It's been brought to my attention. You were talking about it. I went to go look. Do you realize how old your house on the website? Well, I'm sorry. I don't use it. I'm not a narcissist. Don't look at it. I'm busy looking at all this bullshit. So, as I explained, all of this video footage that the cameras, there's no way you can, again, Russia's small. So you can cover up 500 dead and call it 50. But 498 was that was the official line until the calculations and the estimates based upon now the satellites. See, there's a whole thing about the satellites. Maybe I'm one of the few left that still remember only because of mafia skill set and the Irish mafia skill set regarding the birds. I don't know. That's a whole nother debate. See, The birds don't lie. Those who process the images do, in how they, with the resolution, and how they, with what they do in a digital technical sense that I don't understand. The birds don't lie. The birds do what they do. Satellites. The birds are just okay. They do one of two things. Well, they can now do three. Actually, they can do a lot more because some of them has lasers, and we have remember we weaponized space back in the '60s when we signed all of the deals that said we would never, ever, ever do that. So the birds don't lie. They either sit above a point as the Earth turns, unless you're a flat earther, then good luck, or they just they orbit around a body. Except now another tangent. Except in the new Star Trek run where Stacey Abrams is the president of whatever. Now, satellites would orbit normally around a planet. Such gravitational force as a body she has with the ability to block the sun that objects, I guess, will now just, you know, bad scooter. So I thought it was funny. Oh, gee. Wow. Charge of the feather. I'm good. The world's fine. World's fine. The satellites. The birds don't lie. Smartphones are everywhere, even in Russia. Because once they got blue jeans, Coca Cola, rock and roll, and McDonald's into, boy, you don't think they didn't have? Oh, come on. They have and cell phones in prison here in maximum security in the United States, here in Colorado. Give me a fucking break if you don't. Okay. The birds don't lie. Those who control information control, all right, the ones who process it and hand it through and filter, and they're the ones you're watching. The birds don't lie. Government birds, we used to have to trust. Now, I still remember it as Digital Globe, Colorado based, private satellite company, had their own satellite. You want a picture? We'll give it to you. It's going to cost you. Yeah, because back then it was expensive to get satellite time, let alone camera resolution that was of sufficient quality for where did the original Area 51 pictures? I believe they were Digital Globe, or the first publicly confirmed because it was a third part was Digital Globe. Well, I want to say now, at least in the US or in North America, there's a half a dozen. Well, across the world, there's over a dozen, I think, now, private satellite companies. I need a picture of this. You always see that in times of crisis, hurricanes and tornadoes, and the satellite of what it looked like just yesterday, and then God did what it did. FEMA's going to need more money if we're going to keep fixing these things, and get some more camps and decontamination facilities and re-education facilities ready, just in case. Um, and now getting ahead of the next series of stories regarding, I'm sorry, rape, rob, and pillage. What part of war do you not fucking understand? Bad. That one came out. What part of that do you not understand? The birds don't lie. The media is caught again lying. I don't know why they get away with it, how they get away with it. And the street cams and the roof cams. Remember when the Kiev nonsense started and it had fallen? And then it was about to fall. Then it's ready to fall. And then it was holding on. That was 10 days of bull. Knock it off. I think we may go back out over most of these with a highlighted process. I may or may not spend my day doing that. Unprecedented. It's breaking news. It's an unprecedented move. The satellites. So the satellite companies are now trying to get ahead of this on NBC, ABC, etc. by providing the. Well, you can have it. Yeah, we're also sharing this with the government. which was speculative back then regarding Digital Globe, tie-in Area 51, was that Digital Globe was also questioned as, yeah, was Area 51, but yeah, do you work for the government? Are you part of another government psyop? Again, I don't want to get into that, just there it is. So now, with President Biden in Poland, what's going to happen if chemical weapons are used? Well, while he's talking to the troops there, talking about more troops, those are NATO troops. We're not sending troops to Ukraine. Calm down. We told you we're not. Um, President Biden, in front of the podium on microphone, said that a team has been assembled by the United States to deal with it if Russia uses chemical weapons. NATO now has decided to conduct military exercises at the Polish Belarus border, which is northwest and north right there. You just go play right here for a little while. You know, the last exercises we had over in my memories trying to remember where the other exercises were. The 4 Marines died in the Osprey helicopter crash in Norway, but was it Lithuania where the NATO exercises were? They're in the notes. We could go through those. Um, NATO conducting the exercises now at the Polish Belarus border. The American Red Cross. Oh, dear God. No, the Red Cross. You know, they're an international organization. Boy, if they use their funding like the American Red Cross does, um, the Red Cross met with officials in Moscow. Big question marks, exclamation marks. Photo op? California. I know the gas prices are high. Governor Newsom has an idea. We were telling you about a rebate. Nah, gift cards. We'll give you $400 in gift cards, you stupid mother. Wow, gift cards. I don't really want to tell everybody that it's International Waffle Day, not to be confused with National Waffle Day. That's an American thing. So March 25th is International Waffle Day. Very important. Which is clear regarding how Biden dealt with Brussels and then into Poland on the 25th. If ever there's been more of an international waffle, it's him or waffler. As I guess dual countries make you a waffler and not a waffle. President Biden also has announced a new, oh, get this, you cannot have natural gas in America. You know what? Your propane and natural gas through the roof. However, to stem off the crisis in Europe, has announced a natural gas deal for Europe, but we're not going to let us drill, baby, drill here in the United States. I don't know how this is going to fly in the over weekend talking points. All of the morning shows for Sunday have to be live tomorrow morning. There's no way in hell that they actually taped on Friday at 3:30 to put it in the can and re-air tomorrow. So up Chuck Todd and what else? You know them all. Um, it's going to be live. It's going to be very interesting where just that headline alone goes and how. Wait a minute, we won't give it here, but we're going to give what we have here to them because we got to go green. So we got to piss through all of it as fast as we can. My opinion. The COVID, by the way, the fear of the surge as we went back, when we were in DC I had my mask down to do the interview. I put it right back up, but there might be a surge. The Northeast has now seen an 11% jump. Parts of the Northeast. Oh, you mean the highly populated ones? The spin on that in the media now is due to COVID over the past couple of years, the dramatic trend of where people are moving to and why. The problem starters, the problem solvers will tell you up next. They fail to admit that the states that people are fleeing are run by lunatics. They try and blame it on COVID. Well, yeah, COVID is the catalyst for exposing who all of the rapers, robbers, and pillagers were within the various departments of local, county, and state government, in officials who were just operating in an abundance of caution so that little Billy didn't come home and get somebody elderly and kill them, who happened to have high blood pressure and were morbidly obese and had diabetes. And see, you can't talk about diabetes anymore because the media says most likely everybody has diabetes. Sorry, not everybody. Most everybody is pre-diabetic. President Biden is also insisting. He's insisting. Well, good. Everybody pay attention. President Biden is insisting that NATO has never been more united. Okay, good. We can all go to bed now. Thank you, Uncle Joe. If you were a listener of the Scooter McGee show, I made references generically describing different characters as all one Uncle Joe, with no disrespect to my biological father's biological brother, to the man that I call nightclub dad, who has no biological, just his name. He's not your uncle. No, none of you who I know as Joe in the Uncle Joe stories of the show, trust me, that it's not you. Sure, it wasn't him. President Biden insists NATO has never been more united. And then goes on to warn the world and Americans of real food shortages and blames President Putin. Americans need to brace and prepare for real food shortages. Bird flu has now killed and forced the poultry farms to, they say, cull. They don't say kill. I'm going nuts. I'm going absolutely nuts. They're slaughtering with no ability to sell or use any portion of the animal, needlessly slaughtering not hundreds of thousands, millions of birds here in the United States, as far east as the Kansas-Nebraska border. It's not here in Colorado yet, but you know the mid where the birds are, where the poultry farms are. All good. Good, 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 good. Are we still on target for Agenda 2030? I'm just curious. The media is now figuring out that Russia is digging in back to the birds. Satellite images show tanks camouflaging themselves. Yeah, you know, they did that all the way right up until the Ardennes. And then all hell broke loose. Of course you camouflage it. You think the paint camouflages it? Because of the birds. See, it's not planes and drones and all. It's those and satellites, because they're all in a geosynchronous or a geostationary, but there are birds that can move. And then you have things like the drones, but you still have the U-2 and you have the SR-71. Scooter, they declassified and they took those out of commission. You know what? Go yourself. As the stealth bomber flew in Kuwait, so did the SR-71. They took it out of retirement and they used it. Why? Because it was the fastest thing we could get there. Why? Because it can get there faster than we can change the orbit of a satellite. The X-37B has changed that platform. Doesn't mean that bird can't fly again. And sure as hell doesn't mean that that bird has not flown and they haven't been public about it. The birds don't lie. Yeah, the tanks are all over the place. What are they doing? They're digging in. Yep. Why? Because they don't need to move. Nope. They're choking them off. Yep. No. The Russians are choking off the Ukraine. Yep. But they are taking serious damage. Yeah. Well, that's also part of the Soviet playbook. There's an end game to this. Trying to offer Putin an off ramp is insanity. The Russian economy, by the way, now that this is day 30, the Russian economy sank 50% in just 30 days. And remember, the Russian stock market was open how many of those 30 days? Because we have all of those dates in here too. Page after page after page of heavy trading in Russia. And the problem now of 1 month and the T-bills and the treasury notes and the international currencies and exchanges and the interest payments and yada yada yada. They're due. They technically started coming due 10 days into this military exercise turned, incursion, turned invasion, turned war. Um, there's about to be a major economic shakeup, and I don't know how they're going to be able to write this one off. President Biden is expected to deliver what is being called a major address in Warsaw, Poland. Well, he was supposed to deliver the most historic, high stakes message delivered out by any leader in the free world or any other world for that matter has ever seen in the lifetime since Christ themselves. You know what? Christ himself. I'm not going to get into this them and thee and we and us either. Want to make sure we go out of here on the right note. President Biden is to deliver a major address in Warsaw, Poland. It's 9:30 in the morning in Moscow, 8:30 in the morning Ukraine. I'd have to check my 31-hour watch, which I'm not wearing, to check the time zone for Poland, for Warsaw. Want to make sure I get it right. It's a major address. Is this like a major award? Is that what Jill's doing? Again, the Doomsday Police sent the Doomsday plane to cover the Dork Brigade. Jill Biden is in Denver. Denver is the replacement hub for continuity of government if the White House fails. Not the command post, not Cheyenne Mountain, not Mount Weather, not Camp David. Denver, Colorado, from Colorado Springs up and down the Rocky. This is where continuity of government now is. If and when DC and the East go black, and the command centers and the planes and Harpoon and then the rest of them. I know I'm using outdated code names. The Navy's command post, the Air Force's command post, Angel and Harpoon. Once they're back on the ground, where do they go? Well, continuity of government, we go here. So while hubby is away, I don't know, is the wife playing? I'm not condoning that kind of, letting the babysitter. Isn't it funny that she met Joe Biden as a babysitter and after all of these years of public service is still his babysitter? I know I've been offensive. I know I'm out of character. I'm out of uniform. I'm out of format. I'm out of time. I'm not out of Coca Cola because I didn't drink any. If you like the product, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. Tell me what you'd like me to be doing. And you put some thought into it. You can go yourself, Scooter. I know. I've heard it before, and I'm sure I'll hear it again. And it'll probably be tomorrow at the farmer's market. Anyway, don't believe me. Go research Manila and the volcano and bird flu. Bird flu. Yeah, here in the U.S. They're culling the bird. They're killing them. Is this an abundance of caution too? Now that we know the lockdowns didn't work, and now that we know that the CDC affected the data of the efficacy rating of the booster regarding 18 to 49s, do we trust the photos now coming from the White House? Because the leaves are so green and the grass is so what the? It's March 23rd. And I posted in everybody for a day. Your Scooter, you're so full. You just hanging in there. Hey, Scooter, I took a camera view of the street. Yeah, because the cameras were everywhere. Kiev, I got down that path. when this nonsense in Kyiv first started, just like Fox News, when Fukushima didn't explode and they just showed the footage, when we first reported, hey, the webcams just suddenly went down. Nope, they're back up. The angle just changed. When we had the attack on the nuclear facility, the coincidental timing of that facility and its YouTube channel, not saying that was a new channel, but the lack of frequency in which you post, and then you coincidentally post and caught this data. And here's the attack. No, that's a flare dropping in the parking lot. Here you can see the intense fighting. No, we see tracer rounds going one direction. And you can see. No, I see. Oh, I'm not allowed to say what I see. I'm supposed to repeat what you said I saw. Well, that was the Zapruder film. That was conspiracy theory. Back to the conversation. What's the difference between conspiracy theory and fact? About 6 months. No, I got 30 days of them. I got 30 days of headlines that I sat here every night for 30 minutes and rambled. So at least, because when this started, we said, well, this could be for the doctors to see if I've gone crazy. This confirms that I have not lost my mind. They are massaging and manipulating the headlines in real time. Nothing has changed since the days of William Randolph Hearst. You give me the pictures, I'll give them the story. They are massaging and manipulating the pictures. Whether it is your latest female swimmer and whether they have a 5 o'clock shadow or not, sorry, I didn't mean to go there. Lightening or coloring the skin, they have been caught doing that since long before O.J. Simpson. William Randolph Hearst. CNN outraged regarding Zelensky's claims, and they're jumping on board with that Russia's using phosphorus. There's Anderson Cooper in previous, when we were covering the crisis in the Palestinian, the Israeli, in the Gaza Strip, and there's phosphorus going on behind you. We're just here. And wow, you hypocrite. I don't care what you do in your bedroom. When you get on camera and you can lie like that and you become that hypocritical, you really need to go with Leslie Stahl and the rest of the crack staff. And I can't wait until we have commercialized space. We can bring you up into space and walk you into the tube. And you're not really going to do this, are you? Well, we could ask the question. Remember, like I Love Lucy in the trains? What happens if we pull that? That would all go out. It would? Let's sell tickets to see who wants to pull the plug on the media. Stop believing what they tell you to believe. Don't read the headline. Click the damn story and read it. Half the time, the headline is 180 degrees opposite of what the story is telling you. Don't be a mouth breather. I'm sorry. Don't be a low. That's what they say. You have to be a critical thinker. You have to think outside the box. You can no longer believe that many of these people who claim to be doing good for you are doing good for you. The numbers clearly show they're not. So it means one of two things: they are incompetent or they're in cahoots with each other. I leave it for you to decide. Find me on the World Wide Web, scootermcgee.com. I will see all of you each and every night through November. Oh, dear God, no way. No way. Now through March 30th, 2022. Now, look, there'd have to be a lot of people on Patreon in 3 days for me to suddenly decide to go for no. Say no to November. No. Yes. No. No, because now it's out in the universe. I can't. If I hit delete, will that take it out of the universe? It's probably a better question for Elon Musk, because if this is part of the digital simulation, did I just become Neo and become the glitch in the Matrix? I don't know. I got to go. Look at the time. I got to go. See all of you 1 a.m. Eastern. ScooterMcGee.com. Support the show if you'd like, and be a patriot and give me a bunch of money, and I'll stay here till November. But no, no. The war will be going on in November, the whole critical election, and which party will take the world in another better place with the war. Because Joe Biden clearly is not the leader of the president of the world. Not after the fumbles and the speeches and the yelling at reporters after 3 questions that he's done so far. And he still isn't home yet.